Hello students, the topic of today's discussion is communication. Now, what is communication? It is the process of creating and sharing ideas, information, views, facts, feelings, etc. among the people to reach a common understanding. Communication is the fundamental to the existence and the survival of human beings as well as to the organization. Communication is the key to the directing functions of the management. A manager may be highly qualified and skilled, but if he does not possess good communication skill, all his ability become irrelevant. So we can say communication is one of the most important part that a manager should have. A manager must communicate his direction effectively to the subordinates to get the work done from them properly. So this is what is communication and why it is necessary. Now let us understand what is the process of communication. Now the process model of a communication contain the main elements such as the sender part, encoder part, message, channel, receiver, decoding section, lots of noise, and a feedback mechanism also. So this means that as communication occurs, sender and receiver interact by encoding or sending and decoding or receiving messages. Encoding means putting the message into words or diagram or non-verbal signals so that it can be transmitted. The receiver hears, reads, or looks in order to decode or interpret the message. Now, the sender communication begins with sender, the individual who react to the situation from a unique vantage point, interpreting ideas, filtering experiences through their own perception. Sender conceives his idea based on the accumulated attitude, experience, skills, and cultural conditioning. So we can say that sender or the communicator generate the message and convey it to the receiver. He is the source and one who starts the communication. Now next we are going to see the message. What is message? It is the idea, information, view, fact, feelings, etc. that is generated by the sender and is then intended to be communicated further. It makes a connection between the sender and the receiver and may be made up of signs, words, and maybe of body movements. The tone of the voice, inflection, the rate of speech, facial expressions, touching, and body movement may be misinterpreted by the receiver, or poorly constructed message may be lead to the misunderstanding of the message conveyed. The message the sender meant is sent is not always the message that is received. Next is the encoding part. The message generated by the sender is encoded symbolically, such as in the form of words, pictures, gesture, etc. before it is being conveyed. So this is the encoding part. Now next is the channel or the, you can say, media. Now in this channel is or the media, this is basically the middle part and plays a very important role while dealing with communication part. So we can say a channel, it is the manner in which the encoded message is transmitted. The message may be transmitted orally or in writing. The medium of communication includes telephone, internet, post, fax, email, etc. The choice of medium is decided by the sender. So we can say a communication channel is the means of technique used to signal or convey a message. For example, a conversation, letter, telephone call, email, or television program. Sometimes these channels are internal to the organization. Other channels are outside the organization and are thus external channels. An appropriate channel suits the communication purpose, the need of the sender, the message, and the need of the receiver. Different kinds of channel of communication are used inside any organization. Horizontal channels operate between colleagues at the same level within the organizational structure, while the vertical channels move communication up and down between different levels in an organization. Next is decoding. What is decoding? It is the process of converting the symbols encoded by the sender, and after decoding the message is received by the receiver. Then we can say what is the role played by a receiver. Now the receiver, he is the person who is the last in the chain and for whom the message was sent by the sender. Once the receiver receives the message and understand it properly, perspective and act accordingly to the message, only then the purpose of communication is successful. Otherwise the purpose is not fulfilled properly. Then comes the feedback part. Again, this is again very important part as far as communication in any sort of organization is concerned. Once the receiver confirms to the sender that he has received the message and understood it, the process of communication is complete. So this is why the feedback is an important part. It is the receiver's response to the sender's message, telling the sender how their message is being received and helping the receiver confirm whether their perception of the message is correct or not. It can be intentional or unintentional. Feedback provides continuity in the communication, and it indicates effective understanding or misunderstanding of the message also, and it stimulates further communication and discussion. And the next part, which is also an important part, is the noise part. Now noise refers to any obstacle that is caused by the sender, message, or receiver during the process of communication. For example, bad telephonic connection, faulty encoding, fault decoding, inattentive receiver, poor understanding of the message due to prejudice or inappropriate gesture, etc. So basically in this case the message received is not necessarily the same as the message is sent because of all these noises or any one of these noise. So noise or interference that interrupt the message or communication flow between sender and receiver can lead to misunderstanding or confusion or a state of ambiguity, which is very harmful to any organizational setup. Now we are going to see what are the various communication channels within an organization. They can be categorized as first, face-to-face or the personal communication; second, broadcast media communications; third, mobile communication channels; fourth, electronic communications channels; and fifth, written methods of communication. So these are different channels that are there within an organization. Now let us get some brief idea about these one by one. But so we can say communication channel are the means through which people in an organization communicate. Thought must be given to what channels are used to complete various tasks, because using an inappropriate channel for a task or interaction can lead to the negative consequences. Complex messages require richer channels of communication that facilitate interaction to ensure clarity. Now let us take the first communication channel, that is face-to-face communication channel. Face-to-face communication channel or personal communication channel. It is one of the richest channel of communication that can be used within an organization. Physical presence, the tone of the speaker's voice, and facial expression helps recipient of a message to interpret that message as the speaker's intents. This is the best channel to use for complex or emotionally charged messages, because it allows for the interaction between speaker and recipient to clarify ambiguity. A speaker can evaluate whether an audience has received his message as intended and ask or answer follow-up क्वेश्चन. इसका मतलब ये है कि यदि आप आमने सामने आपके की बातें हो रही हैं या जो भी मैसेज कन्वे करना है, यदि आप फेस टू फेस कम्युनिकेट करते हैं तो आपकी फिजिकल एक्सप्रेशन से, आपके बॉडी एक्सप्रेशन से, आप जिस लहजे में बात कर रहे हैं उसकी टोन से जो रिसीवर होगा उसको पता लग जाता है कि सेंडर की इंटेंशन, एक्चुअल इंटेंशन क्या है. So for conveying information in best possible manner, this is one of the best channel which is face to face, कि हम आमने सामने बात करें, that is one of the best channel, because a speaker can evaluate whether an audience has received his message as intended. जैसा उसने चाहा था वैसा ही रिसीवर को मैसेज मिला या नहीं, वो उसको तुरंत पता चल जाता है. नेक्स्ट इज ब्रॉडकास्ट मीडिया कम्युनिकेशन. टीवी, रेडियो and loudspeaker all fall within the broadcast media communication channel. These type of media should be used when addressing a mass audience. Business seeking to notify customer of a new product may advertise or do promotion using a broadcast channel. Similarly, a CEO may do a global company address by having a television feed broadcast across global sites. When a message intended for a mass audience can be enhanced by being presented in a visual or auditory format, a broadcast channel should be used. यानी कि जब आपको काफ़ी ज़्यादा तादाद में मास ऑडियंस को एड्रेस करना है, उस केस में इट इज़ बेटर टू यूज़ दीज टाइप ऑफ चैनल्स. Next is the mobile communication channels. A mobile communication channel should be used when a private or more complex message needs to be relayed to an individual or a small group. यानी कि ये चैनल आपका जब यूज किया जाता है नॉर्मली, जब या तो कोई आपको गुप्त संदेश या प्राइवेट मैसेज या कोई जटिल इंफॉर्मेशन आपको देनी है, किसी या तो किसी व्यक्तिगत किसी को देनी है या किसी स्मॉल ग्रुप में देनी है, उस केस में वी कैन यूज दिस टाइप ऑफ channel. A mobile channel allows for an interactive exchange and gives the recipient the added benefit of interpreting the speaker's tone along with the message. Some within an organization may opt to use this channel versus a face-to-face channel to save on the time and effort it would take to coordinate a face-to-face meeting. Next is electronic communication channels. Electronic communication channels encompasses email, internet, intranet and social media platforms. This channel can be used for one-on-one, group or mass communication. It is less personal method of communication but more efficient. When using this channel, care must be taken to craft messages with clarity and to avoid the use of sarcasm unless the message specifically calls for it. यानी कि इलेक्ट्रॉनिक कम्युनिकेशन चैनल से मतलब ये है कि आप अपना जो भी मैसेज है वो थ्रू ईमेल, थ्रू इंटरनेट या किसी सोशल मीडिया के थ्रू आप मैसेज को सेंड करें. सो दिस टाइप ऑफ कम्युनिकेशन इज इलेक्ट्रॉनिक कम्युनिकेशन चैनल. इसमें एक चीज़ का ध्यान रखा जाता है कि जो भी आपने मैसेज आपने कन्वे करना है वो मैसेज आपका पूरी तरह से क्लियर हो, सो दैट देयर मस्ट नॉट बी एनी मिसअंडरस्टैंडिंग. नेक्स्ट इज रिटन मेथड्स ऑफ कम्युनिकेशन. रिटन मेथड्स ऑफ कम्युनिकेशन यानी कि जो लिखित में आपने मैसेज भेजना है वो कैसे करेंगे. रिटन कम्युनिकेशन शुड बी यूज व्हेन ए मैसेज दैट डज नॉट रिक्वायर इंटरेक्शन नीड्स टू बी कम्युनिकेटेड टू एन एम्प्लॉय और अ ग्रुप. Policies, letters, memos, manuals, notices and announcement all messages that work well for this channel. A recipient may follow up through an electronic or face-to-face channel if question arises about a written message. यानी कि यदि आपने अपनी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में किसी एम्प्लॉय को या किसी ग्रुप ऑफ एम्प्लॉयज़ को एड्रेस करना है, कोई आपने ऑर्गेनाइजेशन की पॉलिसीज़ के बारे में आपने बताना है, किसी को मेमो देना है, कोई नोटिस सर्कुलेट करना है या कोई अनाउंसमेंट करनी है, उस केस में जो रिटर्न मेथड्स हैं दे आर द बेस्ट वन. और यदि किसी को फॉलो अप करना है तो वो आपसे मेल के थ्रू या मोबाइल के थ्रू या फेस टू फेस आपसे इंटरेक्ट कर सकता है यदि उसके माइंड में उस मैसेज के रिगार्डिंग कोई क्वेश्चंस अराइजेस होते हैं उस केस में. नाउ द नेक्स्ट पार्ट ऑफ आवर कम्युनिकेशन इज व्हाट आर द वेरियस टाइप्स ऑफ कम्युनिकेशन. नाउ there are different types of communication: downward communication, upward communication, lateral, oblique, horizontal communication, diagonal communication, formal communication, informal communication, verbal communication, written communication, non-verbal or gestural communication. Now we are going to see these various types of communication one by one. Now, as the name suggests, in the first case, downward communication, here it is, for example, supervisor to the subordinate, downward. In the hierarchy level, it goes from up to down. Now, this downward communication refers to flow of communication from supervisor to the subordinate. To improve downward communication, managers can present job instruction clearly to the subordinates, explain why things need to be done in a particular way so that people who perform the job understand it better. For example, clear staff regulation, rules, handbooks, procedure manuals, etc. are the good example of downward communication. Now the next type of communication is upward communication. It is from subordinate to the supervisor. The upward communication refers to flow of information from subordinate to the supervisor. To improve upward communication, screen upward messages so that the more relevant aspect of information are received by the top management. Provide the climate in which members can communicate both positive and negative messages. Detect biases when they occur. Reduce status difference, and whenever possible require quantified data to be submitted rather than provide subjective information for decision making. For example, instituting suggestion schemes, union leader voicing their demand to management, etc. Now next type of communication is lateral communication or the horizontal communication, that is same level. किसी भी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में उन दो मेंबर्स के बीच में कम्युनिकेशन या होना जो कि हायरार्की में सेम लेवल पे है, जब वो कम्युनिकेट करते हैं तो उसमें जो चैनल को हम बोलते हैं, उस टाइप ऑफ कम्युनिकेशन को जब हम बोलते हैं, दैट इज बेसिकली हॉरिजॉन्टल कम्युनिकेशन. नाउ दिस हॉरिजॉन्टल कम्युनिकेशन टेक प्लेस बिटवीन or among members who are at the same level in the organization. For example, two supervisors of the same department or different department are discussing work matters with each other. To improve lateral communication, it is desirable to establish openness and trust among members of various departments, develop reward system that facilitate interdepartmental cooperation, learn that what the other departments are doing by getting involved in interdepartmental meetings, and if possible design the organizational structure in such a way so that greater opportunities of interdepartmental contact exist. And next is diagonal communication. Here different levels of the hierarchy. When two person or more than two person they are communicating, and in hierarchy level they are at different level, then that type of communication is termed as diagonal communication. So diagonal communication refers to flow of a message between person who are in position at different levels of hierarchy and also in different departments. This type of communication take place under special circumstances only. Then comes the formal communication, or we can say official message within or outside the organization. Now formal communication, the channels of communication established formally, because this is a formal communication, so by which media the information or message is going to flow, that is decided by the management. That is why it is called as formal communication. These are used for the transmission of official messages within or outside the organization. However, it suffers from delay and also chances of distortion, because it is a formal, so it will be a time consuming process. Next is informal communication. Sometimes it is also said as grapevine communication, and the main thing to know here is that this type of communication is not controlled by the management. So communication which take place on the basis of informal or social relations among people in an organization is known as informal communication. It is otherwise known as grapevine communication. The grapevine has three main characteristics. First, it is not controlled by the management. This is this informal communication is not controlled by the management. Second, it is perceived by most employees as being more believable and reliable than formal communication issued by the top management. And the last one is, it is largely used to serve the self-interest of those people within it, and it is one of the quickest means of communication, because this is informal communication. Next is verbal communication. Verbal means oral communication. Now, when the message is conveyed orally, it is called verbal communication. It is most economical and in term of time and money, because it is a simple oral communication, so there is no time consume or very less time consume, and in term of money also very less money is involved in verbal communication. Next type of communication is the written communication, which is in written form. So communication that take place between peoples in a written form is called written communication. For example, issuing memos, reports, bulletins, etc. It is a permanent, tangible and verifiable. But the disadvantage is that this type of communication is more time consuming. Next is non-verbal or gestural communication by the body movements. So communicating non-verbally with body movements with some gesture is known as non-verbal communication. The type of non-verbal communication can be classified into different categories. It may be body movement, it may be physical characteristics, it may be vocal qualities, it may be use of space or proximity, it may be artifacts, it may be environment. So these are some various kinds of communications that take place within an organization. Now we are going to study the various function of communication. What are the function of communication in an within an organization or outside the organization? Now there are many functions. Some of these are emotive. Emotive means basically we can say bhavpurn, means through communication employees can express their frustrations and satisfaction to each other and to the management. So जो भी हमें अपने विचार प्रकट करने हैं, वो चाहे हमारे खुशी के विचार हों या हमारे फ्रस्ट्रेशन के विचार हों, they can be expressed to ourselves, to other employees or to the management through the communication. So this is emotive. In addition, communication provides a mechanism for individuals to compare attitude and resolve ambiguous about their jobs, their roles and areas of conflict between groups and individuals. If an employee is dissatisfied with his pay, he will often communicate with others informally to determine whether the feelings are justified or not. So this is how communication helps. Second is the second function is motivation. It gives motivation, प्रेरणा देता है. The second major function of communication is to motivate, direct, control and evaluate the performance of organizational members. Now, leadership is an influence process by which supervisors attempt to control the behavior and performance of subordinates. Communication is major vehicle of such control available to leaders. Hence, leadership activities such as issuing orders, rewarding behavior and performance, reviving and evaluating performance, making job and task assignments, and training and developing subordinates all involve communication. So, if communication is better or information is passed effectively, then it will lead to a healthy organizational structure and also healthy organizational environment. Next is information. Now, communication serves a vital information function for decision making. It is based on technological orientation and facilitate information processing activities and ways to improve the accuracy with which communication channels carry information going into individuals, group and organizational decisions. Next function is the control function. Now, organizations are attempting to control the activities of individuals through the design and use of formal communication channels. Most type of programs or standards operating procedures have a large communication component to them. Hence, formal communication channels represent a major structural means of control within any organization. Now we are going to see what are the various barriers to effective communication. वो बाधाएं कौन सी हैं जो कि एक इफेक्टिव कम्युनिकेशन को नहीं होने देती. Now we are going to see one by one of these barriers. First is semantic problems, यानी शब्दार्थ समस्याएं. The use of inappropriate language, symbols and words may affect the understanding capacity of the receiver. यानी कि जब हम कोई इंफॉर्मेशन पास कर रहे हैं उस टाइम पे यदि आपकी लैंग्वेज प्रॉपर नहीं है या आपके वर्ड्स प्रॉपर नहीं है या बॉडी लैंग्वेज आपकी ठीक नहीं है, उस केस में इस तरह की समस्या को हम शब्दार्थ समस्याएं कहते हैं. बिकॉज दे विल करप्ट आवर इंफॉर्मेशन एंड लीड्स टू मिसअंडरस्टैंडिंग. The sender must ensure that the proper words and language are chosen to communicate the intended message so that there is no room of misinterpretation or confusion as the receiver decodes the message exactly as it was encoded. Many words commonly used in communication carry quite different meaning for different people. Two general kinds of semantic problems present barrier to communication. First, some words and phrases are so general or abstract that they invite varying interpretation. Next, semantic problems arise when different groups develop their own technical language. यानी कि हर एक ग्रुप या different group have developed their own technical language. Or so these type of problems are there which are termed as semantic problems. Next is status effects. Now, status effect also hinder communication in as much as people occupying higher position in the organization have a tendency to tell lot of things to the subordinate, but they are not in a habit of listening. Thus, effective communication is blocked. So, the superior subordinate status comes in the way of effective communication. यानी कि जब आप कम्युनिकेट करते हो और आप एक उच्च पद पर हो, उस टाइम पे आपको ज़्यादातर ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस में इट इज़ कॉमन एक्सपीरियंस कि उनको कहने की तो आदत होती है, लेकिन दे आर नॉट एबल या दे आर नॉट गुड लिसनर टू देयर जूनियर्स, यानी कि वो किसी की सुनते नहीं हैं, बस वो कहते हैं. दिस लीड्स टू अनइफेक्टिव कम्युनिकेशन, or we can say proper communication is blocked in this particular case. Next is physical distraction. When people communicate with each other, noise may also enter in form of various type of distractions. Distraction may occur because of situational factor such as constant telephone interruptions, people walking in and out of the room, or loud noise in the background. यानी कि जब आप कम्युनिकेट कर रहे हैं उस केस में आपके टेलीफोन के सिग्नल्स ढंग से नहीं आ रहे, या जहाँ पे आप बैठे हैं वहाँ पे लोगों का आना जाना लगा हुआ है, या बैकग्राउंड में काफ़ी ज़्यादा आवाज़ या शोर आपके पास है, उस केस में आपकी जो कम्युनिकेशन होगी दैट विल नॉट बी proper. Apart from these physical noises, certain peculiar mannerism of the speaker may also be distracting to the listener and hide effective listening. Next is informal overload. This refers to too much volume of information which is beyond the level of person to comprehend. यानी कि आपने अपने सबॉर्डिनेट को इतनी ज़्यादा इन्फॉर्मेशन या इतना ज़्यादा मैसेज दे दिया कि वो उसकी समझ से बाहर है, उस केस में भी communication becomes problem, or the information which you are going to convey will not be properly conveyed. Communication may be ineffective when too many information is transmitted at one time, or when complex information is presented within a short time frame. The problem is compounded if the individual also has limited attention span and poor memory retention. Managers are literally drowned in communication and unable to attend them fully. This includes a variety of information received from different modes such as email, memos, official letters, reports, instructions, circular, telephone, meetings, etc. is required to attend. So these type of problem are there, which are termed as informal overload. कि आपने उसकी कैपेसिटी से ज़्यादा उसको इंफॉर्मेशन दे दी जो कि उसकी समझ से बाहर है. नेक्स्ट इज टाइम प्रेशर. नाउ टाइम इज ऑलवेज शॉर्ट एंड दिस फैक्ट often leads to distortion in communication. A major temptation when pressed for time is to short circuit formal communication channels. Because of time pressure, many messages are hastily and inadequately communicated by the manager. यानी कि आपके पास टाइम की कमी के कारण आपने बड़ी जल्दबाजी में मैसेज को कन्वे किया या इनएडिक्वेट और इनप्रॉपर तरीके से आपने कम्युनिकेट मैसेज को किया बिकॉज ऑफ टाइम प्रेशर. नाउ दिस विल लीव द लिसनर विद much ambiguity and confusion as to what has been said and what action should be taken. यानी कि क्योंकि आपने उसको जल्दबाजी में मैसेज को कन्वे किया या इन्फॉर्मेशन दी, तो उसको यही नहीं पता कि उसको तो क्या तो कहा गया है और क्या उसने करना है बिकॉज ऑफ टाइम प्रेशर. सिंस मैनेजर्स हैव टू डील विद लार्ज नंबर ऑफ पीपल ऑन एन ongoing basis within limited period of time, giving incomplete information and verbally transmitted short telephonic messages seems inevitable. Next is the cultural differences. Words colors and symbols have different meaning in different cultures and sometimes even between subcultures within a national boundaries, because we are having different people from different cultural background and in different language, different geographical areas, the words may have different meanings, the color or the symbols may have different meanings. So this will create some ambiguity and this will lead to improper communication. Next is trust level. Trust level, when there is lack of sufficient trust between communication parties or selective listening take place because of this, resulting in ineffective communication. Complete information is seldom exchanged under such circumstances, and the withholding of information by one or the both parties will further aggravate the trust issue and impersonal problems. Evaluating tendency develops selective listening increases further and messages get distorted. यानी कि जब हमें एक दूसरे पर विश्वास नहीं होता तो उस वक्त पे दो पार्टी जो कम्युनिकेट कर रही हैं वो या तो पूरी इंफॉर्मेशन आपस में शेयर नहीं करते बिकॉज दे डू नॉट ट्रस्ट ईच अदर. सो जब वो एक दूसरे से पूरी तरह से इंफॉर्मेशन शेयर नहीं करते उस केस में इट विल लीड टू मिस अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ द जॉब और द वर्क और फॉर द इंफॉर्मेशन. नेक्स्ट इज सिलेक्टिव परसेप्शन. सिलेक्टिव परसेप्शन यानी कि जब हम किसी का चयन करते हैं वो धारणा, चयनात्मक धारणा, हम अपने परसेप्शन के हिसाब से चयन करते हैं. People have a tendency to listen to only a part of message and block out other information for a variety of reasons. One of the most important of aspect is a need to avoid or reduce cognitive dissonance. Thus, people have a tendency to ignore new information that conflicts with or denies already established belief, values, and expectation. Selective perception occur when the receiver values the context of communication, including the role, identity, values, moods, and motive of sender. Next is self-concept. Self-concept, an individual's motive and personality strongly influence the decoding or the symbolic interpretation process. An employee who has a highly felt need for advancement in an organization and whose personality tend to be quite optimistic might read a smile and casual comment from a supervisor as an indication that he is being groomed for promotion. A person with low need for advancement and a pessimistic disposition may read nothing more than that a casual comment unrelated to anything else into supervision's comment. And the last is the absence of two-way communication. If communication is only one way, from top to bottom or from supervisor to subordinate, without any feedback, would hinder communication from taking place in an effective way. For instance, the receiver might decode the message in a way that was not intended. Neither the receiver nor the sender will then realize that the message was misinterpreted until it becomes too late to rectify the situation. For example, an examination question is one-way communication which could easily get misinterpreted by some students, since attempt by students to seek clarification in the examination hall is usually discouraged. So this is how, this is also one of the barrier in effective communication, because this is the one-way communication. So our next topic is how to overcome these particular barriers in communication. Now there are number of ways managers can minimize a number of communication barriers. In general, communication can be improved in two ways. First, the manager must sharpen his or her skill in manipulating symbols, that is, process of encoding. This implies that the sender must take as much care as possible in choosing symbols and establishing the context within which the message is transmitted. There are number of techniques that are commonly employed by manager to accomplish these ends. Out of those, first is active listening. Active listening implies that the receiver of information engage in the following pattern of behavior. First is stop talking since it is impossible to talk and listen at the same time. Second, remove the distracting elements as much as possible. Next, is patient and lets the other person say whatever need to be said. Next, appreciate the emotion behind the speaker's word and it is empathetic. Next is attentive. Next, creates a positive listening environment. Next, use feedback mechanism to check understanding. Next, withhold judgments. Next, ask questions. React to the message and not the person. So active listening takes a lot of energy and be perfected by conscious and constant practice. Next technique to overcome the communication barrier is follow up and feedback mechanism. The process of feedback make a communication two-way process. In face-to-face situation, the sender should try to become sensitive to the facial expression and other signs that indicate how the message is being received. It is often important to solicit question of clarification from the receiver. When more formal communication is involved, the writer may specify specific forms and times for responding to ensure feedback. Then comes through process of parallel channel and repetitions. A major principle of communication technology is to provide parallel channel of communication that reinforce each other. So a verbal request may be followed up with a memo. In this way, the sender has ensured getting the attention of the receivers and also ensured that the sender will have a record to refer to in case he or she forgets in its order. Next is the timing. A manager may ignore a memo or request simply because other problems are pressing in at the same time. So two kind of action can be taken by management to ensure the accurate reception of communication through timing. The first action is they may want to standardize the timing of specific message, and second, many organizations establish retreats or time away from normal job pressures to transmit materials, ideas and instructions to the employees. This action ensures the individual attention of the receiver. Next technique is be patient and paying adequate attention. Now, when choosing a style of language, the sender must give a due consideration to the listener's intentions and his background. Effective use of language consists of tailoring one's message for the context of the receivers in order to maximize overall between the intended and the received message. The next technique to remove the barrier in communication is information communication and information centers. Running parallel to formal communication channel is an organization in an informal network commonly called grapevines. They tend to be a universal fact of life in all the organization. They have been used to serve not only informational function but also motivational functionals as well. A number of employees' needs are served by the powerful reinforce. Effective communication often combine formal and informal channels of communication. Thus, a manager may reinforce information received through formal with an off the record talk with key subordinates. In reverse directing, he or she might reinforce and clarify a formal written with an informal chat session among the employees. Next technique is expectation principles and need to know. In order to deal effectively with information overload problem, many organizations try to establish certain principles for actually limiting the extent of communication. Many firms implement an expectational principle in communication channel. The principle order that only communication regarded exceptional derivation from order, plans and policies be communicated upward on a routine basis. Hence, upper level of management will receive only the information which truly demand their attention. A closely related principle involves downward communication. Here, managers should be selective and transmit information on a need to know basis. In this way, lower level personnel receive only communication that is immediately critical to carrying out their task. The success of these two principles depend on the type of organization within which jobs are carried out. They will be most effective in highly structured organizations where tasks are relatively simple and routine. In less formal organization in which work is rather complex and not highly structured, communication need to be as open and unrestricted as possible. The next technique to overcome the communication barrier is being empathetic and understanding. यानी कि दूसरों को समझने में सहानुभूति रखना. This is something being empathetic. Now, a good communicator are able to reduce the chance of communication barrier and the associated problem by communicating with empathy, a feeling and awareness of the other person and their point of view. A good communicator is also able to recognize emotion in others and respond accordingly. It is reported that empathy is the foundation for the quality of a relationship. In a satisfying relation, both parties have empathy for the other person's point of view and are also willing to provide appropriate and sufficient feedback to achieve the understanding. Next technique is using feedback mechanism. Since feedback involves both receiver and sender, it is important to understand the conditions under which feedback session will be more effective both from the sender's and receiver perspective. For feedback to be most effective, the person giving the feedback must follow these points. First, give specific and not general or vague feedback. Second, give feedback immediately or soon after the event has taken place rather than long after the event has occurred. Third, give feedback on aspect that the receiver can rectify rather than on aspect which the individual has no control. Fourth, be descriptive then evaluative. Fifth, give feedback on a few critical issues where improvement is most urgently expected rather than on a wide range of problem areas. Sixth, examine your own motivation in giving the feedback. Seventh, be sure that the receiver is ready to receive the feedback. Seventh, be non-threatening and disregard your superior status while offering feedback. Next technique to overcome the communication barrier is minimize physical distraction. Taking due care in minimizing the external noise, interruptions, unusual and unwanted incidences, etc., facilitate to heighten the attention level of the members in attending to satisfy a higher level need can result in regression to a lower level need. So these are some of the technique by which we can overcome the communication barriers. So this is all for today's lecture. Have a nice day.